Hi Vishal, I'm fine.
Okay, fine. So you're done with your placements, right?
Yes, finally. We are pleased.
Exactly. So yeah, happy now.
Yeah, feeling relaxed now and chilling.
Okay. Yeah, I got that. Okay, so like where have you been placed?
So I'm placed in Citrix.
Okay, so
It's a
was that a
broad-based company.
campus placement?
Yes, it was on-campus placement.
Okay, fine. Okay, so can you just let's get on to the questions directly. So can you just give me a brief intro about your previous college, your BTech college, and your experience, if any, and like how did you come to BITS Pilani for your masters? So can you just brief me about that?
Yes, sure. So I completed my BE from Pune University in
Okay.
2019, and after that I got the campus placement after BE itself, and then I joined Persistent System, and I worked there for around 1.5 years. And while working, I prepared for the GATE examination, but I do not get the good rank in the GATE, so I do not get any good college. But I prepared for BITS SD exam as well, and I performed well in that exam. So through BITS SD exam, I was able to get the Pilani campus. So currently, I'm studying in the Pilani campus, and I'm in the second year of my master's degree, and from there I got the placement in Citrix.
Okay, fine. Like, what was the minimum eligibility criteria for to sit for the placement
Uh,
of Citrix?
Yes. For Citrix, the minimum CGPA is required is 7 CGPA. If you have above 7 CGPA, you are eligible for Citrix.
Okay, so was it for MTech alone, or were they allowing B people?
Uh, yes, the Citrix came in our campus only for the ME people. They are allowed only for MTech students.
Okay, fine. That's great. Okay, so can you just brief me about the placement process? Like, what all rounds were there in the placement?
Yes. So Citrix usually conduct 4 rounds. The first round was online round, coding round, and then 3 technical rounds, including one manager round. So total 4 rounds are there in the
Okay,
placement process.
okay, fine. And okay, so one test, then three interview rounds, right?
Three interview rounds, yeah. 3 technical interviews.
Okay, so like what does the sorry, the test consist of? Like, was it a completely
Uh,
coding, or was there any technical questions?
yes. So basically, the first round consists of 2 sections. The first section was consist of 2 coding question, and one other section was consist of 40 MCQ. So 40 MCQ and 2 coding question. We have to complete this test within 2 hours. So question was
Okay,
around medium to hard difficulty, because the coding question was little tough. That was based on the DP problems, and MCQs were little easy as compared to the coding.
okay, fine. Like there were only two sections, right? And was
Yes.
can we switch between these sections, or it has
Yes,
separate
yes.
cutoff?
Switching was allowed. We have to
Okay,
combinedly solve within 2 hours all these things.
okay, fine. That's great. And do you remember the coding questions, if any?
Yes, I remember one question, not exactly the question, but it was based on the Floyd-Warshall algorithm. It was variation of that algorithm. It was
Okay,
DP-based question. It was like finding the nearest neighbor of the cities. But basically, we have to apply the Warshall algorithm in that question.
okay, fine. That's great. And what about the 40 MCQs which you have mentioned? Is it like completely gate level questions or something in detail?
Yes. It was completely the gate 1 marks level questions, and it was mix of some quantitative aptitude was also there, little bit the probabilities and the permutation combination based, and most of the technical questions were there from the subjects like OS, networking, and DBMS.
Okay, fine. And was there any questions on SQL?
Uh, not exactly. The query related question was not there, but theory related question was there.
Okay, fine. Okay, so let's get on to the interviews. What was the first technical interview? Can you just brief me about that?
Yes. So first technical interview was for me it was mainly based on the project related interview. So it started with a basic introduction. He just asked me, tell me something about yourself. So I give my short introduction, and from my introduction, he pointed out that I have the work experience as I was working as software engineer for 1.5 year. So he directly jumped onto that, and he asked me that what was the project that you were working on, and what was your role. So he wanted to explain me about my role in that project, and so he get a bit deep into that part. So he directly said to me like we have to implement what was I was doing in that project. So I was working on logging part. So he told me to let's start implementing a logging here. So he told me that suppose a user gives you a path and log information. You have to you have to paste that you have to capture that logging information and put it into that desired location in the system. So basically, I done this using a file handling operation. So I have to open the file on that location and then write that log information to the that file. So after this, he start adding complexity to this part. Like if there are multiple log labels are there, then how will you handle that? And suppose if the exception are also occurred at runtime, okay, so then how will you handle? So he come to the exception part now. Then he talk about the like array out of bound exception, and then if the exception are related with the runtime, or how will you design a custom exception? If you wanted to design your own exception, then how will you create it? You will create your separate class for that exception. So likewise, he keep on adding the complexity to that part. And after that, he directly jumped to the OS related questions. Then he add multi-threading to that part. Now suppose if there are multiple threads are there for one program, then how will you tackle that multi-threading in your area? So basically, he wants to know about the critical section problem. Then how will you handle critical section problems? So I provide the solution for that. Then he asked me producer consumer problem, that how the producer consumer problem works. So likewise, he asked this type of questions related with that project. And then he jumped to the networking part. He asked me like how TCP works, and how suppose if there is a failure in any server, then what all these steps are required to detect the failure in the server. So basically, he wanted to know about the trace route and the ping command, that how these two commands work. And then he again looked into my resume and started looking onto all the projects. So he asked me that explain all the project one by one in within 10 to 15 minutes. And then he directly jumped to the one of the project was based on blockchain, and then he go deep into the blockchain part. He asked me that how the blockchain works and what type of blockchain you have used. Like I have used the Ethereum blockchain, so he asked me a little bit the Ethereum blockchain and how it is different from the public or private blockchain. So likewise, he mostly asked the question with the project only. And then once this whole part is done, at the end, he asked me one coding question that was based on the longest common service string. So that question was the variation of LCS problem. And I was able to solve that problem, and that was over.
Okay, fine.
So
So
this was
mostly it
all
was
about the
about your
first round.
resume.
Yes, yes.
Okay, okay, fine, fine. And okay, so only one coding question was there, right?
Hi,
Right.
he asked me only one coding question.
Okay, okay, fine. And what about the second round, second and third round?
Huh. Okay, so after this, around the 12 students were shortlisted. So in the second round, it was dedicatedly a coding round. Okay, so we have to
Okay.
just code two questions within 1 hour. He gave me 1 hour to solve two questions. One was hard level complexity, and other was medium level complexity. And we have to do on the code pair HackerRank. So he shared the HackerRank link, and there was two questions there. So the first question was again based on the DP problem. It was like finding the number of fountains that need to be activate so that the entire garden becomes full of water. So it was like this question that was available on the GeeksForGeeks. So and other question was based on the anagram problem. It was a variation of anagram problem that was a medium level question. So he asked me to first he told me that you have 1 hour to finish both the questions, and you have two choices. Either you can go with the hard one first, or you can go with the medium level first. and he told me that a hard level has more weightage than the medium level, and but I chose the medium level first, so I started solving medium level question, and I was able to solve within half an hour to 35 minutes. I solved that question, and then I jumped to the hard level question, but I could not able to solve completely the hard level, but I was able to solve partially. So I solve one question partially and other question completely, and then I able to get through this round. So it was totally a coding round, the second round.
Okay, so just 2 coding questions, that's it.
Yeah, just 2 coding question in 1 hour, just.
Okay, fine. So you were qualified for third round, and what was the third round actually? And it was the final round, right?
Yes, it was the final round. So third round, basically it was combined of technical and managerial round, because that round was taken by a senior person from the company. So he was around 50 plus. Then he directly started with the introduction of himself. Then he introduced himself and about the company's culture, about what Citrix does, and what will be our role. And then he asked me about my interest, which is your favorite language. I told him that C++, and then then he started asking system design level questions. So he asked me like one of the question, like suppose you worked on Windows operating system or Linux operating system. So what all the services you will remove or add from the operating system so that it will also work in the Android operating system, in the Android, basically Android phone. So that was the one question he asked me. And then he jumped to the networking questions, like how a particular node or computer connect to the networks. So how what all these steps are required for a node to be connected to the network or coming into the networks. And then he asked me like how a browser or search engine works, how a browser finds something on the internet. So he asked me into that part, and then I told him about the DNS lookup and then TCP part. So then he asked me that why how TCP works and why three-way handshaking required in TCP, and is there is need of three-way handshaking. So I explained that part also. And then he comes to the multi-threading part. He asked me that what's the difference between the user level and kernel level threads, and how the deadlocks is created, and what was the race condition problems. So he asked me these type of questions. And then at the end he asked me like what about my work experience, like you were working in the persistent for 1.5 year. So what was your project and what was your role, what outcomes you get from the project, how was your learning part. So you asked me from that part. So I told him that my experience was in C++, and he come to the C++ part, that how will you rate yourself in C++, and which is the most difficult thing that you find in C++. So I told him that the multi-threading part I found a little difficult in C++. So he asked me then why the multi-threading is difficult and what you know about the multi-threading. And then he asked me like you only know one language. Then I replied that no, I also compatible with the Java and Python as well. So likewise, and then the interview was end. So these are all the questions he asked me.
Okay, fine. So what is the duration of these interviews, 3 interviews?
The first interview was a little long. It was around 1.5 hours, 1 to 1.5 hours. Second interview was exactly 1 hour. And the third interview again, it was 30 to 45 minute interview.
Okay, fine. And that was the final round, and there was no HR round, right?
Yeah, there was no HR round.
Okay, cool, fine. And so, like, how did you prepare for this coding part, for the interviews as well as for the written test?
Yes. So I started from the GeeksForGeeks and Leetcode. I followed these 2 platforms for the coding preparation. So firstly I solved all the must-do interview questions that was there on the GeeksForGeeks. So that was from all the companies that conduct that coding rounds. So I solved all these questions, and then I follow a DSS sheet that was given by Love Babbar on the YouTube. So I followed that DSS sheet, and I solved most of the questions from all the topics in that DSS sheet. So the question was from the GeeksForGeeks and Leetcode platform. So I solved directly from there. So I cover most of the easy and medium level questions. I skip some of the hard questions, but cover easy and medium questions mostly.
Okay, fine. And like what I understood is there were a lot of DP questions involved in the Citrix process, right?
Yes, yes. That
Okay.
is, I think, mostly focusing on DP questions.
Oh, okay, fine. That's nice. And like, how did you prepare for the interviews? Did you take any mock interviews or you just prepared alone?
Yes, actually, our campus gave me chance to have one mock interviews. So they conduct one mock interview. So I prepared for that also. And other than this, I just before that Citrix was coming, I was reading the interview experiences of that companies. So I read around 5 to 10 interview experiences of Citrix companies. So I get the idea that what technical knowledge is required, what is the important topics, and what are the important subjects that this company focus on. So I prepared from there.
Okay, so like, where did you get those interview experiences?
I got from the GeeksForGeeks.
Okay,
In the
fine.
GeeksForGeeks, there is a Citrix archive section. So there I got all the interview experiences.
Okay, fine. And did you do any particular coding for like Citrix, specific to Citrix, or it was just a normal coding that you did?
No. I prepare for all the companies. I was doing general coding that asked in every companies. I do not prefer means basically for the only Citrix company. I prepare for all the companies.
Okay, great. That's great. And so, like, how did you prepare for the technical side, like the gate level concepts, like networks, OS, DBMS, etc.?
Yes. For the OS and for the networking and DBMS, I followed my gate nodes only. And for OS, I followed the gate nodes along with I also study from the GeeksForGeeks. The GeeksForGeeks has a very good content for the operating system. So they have topic wise all the topics covered there in their web page. So I studied from their website. It was very good content.
Okay, fine. Okay, I think that covered almost all the part. And as what I understood is system design is also very important in case of Citrix placement process, right?
Yes. Because in the last manager round, they are going to ask one or two system design questions. Because I also asked from my colleagues, and they also told that they all their interview also asked the system design questions like designing of tiny URL and some related with the
Okay,
music player. So that was kind of questions.
okay, fine. That is great. And what role is being offered by Citrix for you?
They offered SD one role, software development engineer
SD1.
one.
Okay, fine. So that means a pressure role only.
Yes.
Okay, fine. Okay, I think we have covered almost all the parts. Yeah, I think finally that is done. So yeah, I would like to congratulate on your success and your achievement which you've got right now, and I wish you
Yes.
all the very
Thanks.
best for your future. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, man. Thanks a lot. Thanks for your feedback.
Yeah. Thank you, Vishal. Yes.
Yeah. Thanks, man. Okay then. Yeah.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.